Welcome to this day that year. Today is September 29th and we are live. We can take your comments and suggestion, and let's find out what important historic incident happened on this day. Well, friends, first is about the marriage bureau. So, a gentleman called Henry Robinson, he realized there could be opportunity in this space also where a professional services can be woven around providing marriage services, because finding the right partner and having a long-term relationship is a challenge for humanity. But this was realized by Henry Robinson in the year 1650, and as per our records, he started the first marriage bureau in the world on September 29th. So let's move to the next one. Well, next one is about John Rockefeller. He's a well-known personality, well-known figure. Even today, Rockefeller Foundation is also known as one of the richest organization in the world today. And some people say that they indirectly run the world, but that is something which is folklore. But in the year 1916. On September 29th, John Rockefeller became the first billionaire of the world. So it's a world record, becoming the first billionaire of the world is Mr. Rockefeller in the year 1916 on September 29th. Let's move to the next one. Well, this is about the International Monetary Fund, which is also known as IMF. IMF was restructured from the World Monetary System. Before that, there was not a very organized method of funding the sick countries. So IMF was launched, and it is largely dependent on the donation from member countries, and people with the countries with money can create a fund under the IMF and then can give grants and loans to countries which needs them in the need of the hour. So IMF basically was launched on September 29th in the year 1967. There is one peculiar information about IMF is that IMF loans are for humanitarian causes. In case there is a small country which has suffered a natural calamity like a flood or an earthquake, and since the country is small, they cannot mobilize resources, so they would depend on foreign aid, and to provide funding for this foreign aid, IMF can come forward and give them loan. So typically IMF loans or IMF grants or loans are at a very low cost loans. Basically the interest rates are very, very low, and that is a difference between a bank and an IMF. Basic difference. So it is a very good organization. A lot of countries in the past have taken help in the case of a crisis from IMF, and IMF is also very strict in terms of following the financial jurisprudence, and therefore whenever they give money, they also ensure that the money comes back, because after all it's a fund and they are not making any money out of it. So they have to make sure that the money returns back to them, and the interest rate is also very, very low. So this was formed on September 29th, which is today, in the year 1967. Let's move to the next one. Well, we know that the International Space Station is a collaboration between different countries, and there are different modules which are plug and play like a Lego box. And International Space Station is called International Space Station because it came up after a collaboration between multiple countries. But this is not the first space station that we had. We had the Skylabs by the US, and also the Soyuz, which was a Russian space station. And the space stations are basically permanent structure floating in the lower Earth orbit, and you don't have to send your aircraft or spacecraft again and again. So this laboratory or infrastructure which can support life and also has machinery for conducting different experiments is already there in the space. All you need to do is send your cosmonauts or astronauts. So in the year 1977, on September 29th, Soyuz 6 was launched. And it is the space station, Russian space station, very old style. As you can see, the picture is also very old here. But this was launched today on September 29th. Historic day, especially for our space exploration. Let's move to the next one. Well, this is about the one of the most beautiful women, Elizabeth Taylor. And people say that she is the most beautiful woman ever to live on the surface of the earth. But in her personal life, she was a complete wreck. On the screen, she is an amazing personality. She was very pretty and she knew how to do acting, and she has given a lot of successful blockbuster movies, and she was liked by a lot of everybody, basically, because she is so pretty to look at. Even at very senior age, she was very beautiful. Even at the age of 80, she looked stunning. But did you know, because her personal life was a wreck, she got into multiple marriages. So in the year 1984, she finally got into rehabilitation, because rehab is a process which will make you a sane person, because if some insanity is creeping in or you're worried about certain depression related or mental health related issue, you typically go to a place called rehabilitation. It's a different kind of a hospital which will treat you with your emotions and things like that. So Elizabeth Taylor, and in short, she is also known as Liz Taylor, got into rehabilitation on September 29th in the year 1984. So let's move to the next one. And again, about the global phenomena, there is a army which is known as UN Peacekeeping Force. UN Peacekeeping Force is a combination of different countries, militaries coming together and forming a force. So it's like a deputation services where all countries send their soldiers as part of as a reserve in the United Nations. And in case there are some insurgency going somewhere, the UN basically occupies that space and use their peacekeeping force to basically ensure that no untoward incident happened. So the peacekeeping force primary task is to ensure that the peace is maintained and they do not interfere in any political processes, etc. So UN Peacekeeping Force got the Nobel Peace Prize in the year 1988 on September 29th. It is a very important day today, because an organization which is responsible for peacekeeping got recognition in the form of Nobel Peace Prize. It's a very, very big recognition from the global perspective. All right, let's move to the next one. And this is about our nearby planet Mercury. And Mercury is one of the least explored planet. I mean, we have sent a lot of probes into Venus and also to Mars. In fact, Mars is being sent so many spacecraft. There are rovers which are roaming around on the surface of the Mars. There are orbiters which are mapping Mars. In fact, there is Google Mars also, which you can access, and sitting on Earth, you can examine various physical features of Mars from your living room. But Mercury has not been explored so much, and there are very few spacecraft which have gone and explored and taken photograph or even analyzed Mercury. The last encounter humanity had, was the Messenger spacecraft, which performed the final close by flyby over the surface of Mercury in the year 2009, and the date was September 29th, that is today. For almost 12 years, there has been no interaction between humans and Mercury planet, although there has been a lot of speculation that we must go back and examine it up close, maybe try to land and look at the surface, and specifically looking at the example of the moon, when Indian spacecraft identified water in the craters of the moon. Speculation is that Mercury will also have habitable zones, or a lot of water available on the surface. So more research is required, but the last time we went there was in 2009 on September 29th. So friends, today some of the very important incident happened in our history. September 29th seems to be an important day, and every day I come and bring these trivia and facts about the world to you at 10:30. So please join back tomorrow and watch me live. If you have any suggestion and questions, feel free to shoot. So today I'll like to say goodbye, only to catch you again tomorrow at 10:30. Bye bye.